Well, when I woke up this morning, it turned out that I had not been dreaming and that there really was this amazing Tesla earnings report and call yesterday. Yeah, shocking, shocking. Even the stock market is continuing to appreciate what took place yesterday, and the stock is holding its gains, depending on what you count as the top 17, $18 for the after hours added to the two and a half for the day. Yeah, all in all, you can't complain about the current state of affairs. So let's see what I've thought about and read about and considered this morning. If you missed that video that we did last night, this was not part of the call, but might have been important as anything that we reported on last night about the call. You see, if you follow this channel regularly, you know that for over a week now, I've been suggesting that we employ a new metric for full self-driving. We've got the mother-in-law metric, we've got the spouse metric, we've got the metric. Does it pass NISHDA? We got the Dan-O'Dowd metric. Does it pass the Dan-O'Dowd test? Well, I came up with a new test, and I think it's the best test. And that would be, could the car have done that last drive you did by itself? You got out of, sure, you may have had some uh, interruptions along the way. You might have pushed the accelerator a couple of times, but if you hadn't, could the car have just done that ride by itself? Well, Nicholas Gibbs took the challenge. I didn't know he'd done this. I try to read everything that Nick talks about during the week, but for 6 days, every single drive he made, no disengagements or nudges of any kind to help. So he just made that decision. I'm not going to disengage. I am not going to nudge. I'm going to let the car run into things. Well, no, he's not going to let the car run into things, but he's just not going to, he's going to pretend like there's no driver. Well, during those 6 days, he ended up with no no problems at all. It executed with zero interventions. He said, yes, the car could have been a robotaxi, including parking. So I thought that was really a big deal. It really, there's got to be a way I should be able to, or Nick should be able to put that up as a post that Elon would respond to. I thought that was incredible. What do you think? Let me know in the discussion below. Look, I think there is some confusion also this morning, even by some people that I respect. Let me see if I can straighten out the confusion. The vehicles that will be shipped later this year are exactly what would have been shipped in the second half of 2025. In other words, the Gen 3 vehicle, the $25,000 car, the compact and or the truck or the van or whatever they're going to be, because there's going to be at least two, because he said vehicles multiple times. They're not shifting anything at all about the what. They're only shifting the how and the where and yeah. So all of the componentry was already designed and developed, and maybe there'll still be some changes between now and the end of the year, but for the most part, they've already got all the pieces and all the parts. But the reason they were going to go for mid 2025 was because they wanted to use the unboxed method, and they were expecting that to be a challenging setup. And so what they've done basically is they de-risked it. I think that's how you say the word. They de-risked this ramp. They said, okay, we need to come out with the Model 3 or the Gen 3, Model 2, whatever you want to call it. We need to come out with it sooner. There's a demand for it. There's a crying need for it. Let's not slow it down anymore. Besides, we've got the space in Austin to do this. And what we can do is we can have our production line be, I hate to use the word hybrid, but we're going to use our production line that we are the production lines that we already set up. No additional CapEx, no more spending. Well, no additional, less additional CapEx. We'll use the production lines in the building exactly, but we'll bring in some of this unboxed approach that we're talking about that we know will be okay. All right. So that's what they're doing. Car that comes out at the other end of the line will be the same car as has always been planned. People are talking about, oh, no, they're just going to make the Model 3 a cheaper version. No, that's not what they're going to do. Oh, they're going to come out with a Juniper version of the Model Y, but it'll be all, it'll have just a really cheap version of it. No, that's not what they're going to do. This is going to be the new vehicles, two at least. All right. Let me know in the comments below where I've got that wrong, or maybe you think I'm right, but there's a nuance that I'm not picking up on. Okay, there's also some confusion about the capacity of Austin. Clearly, the statement was that Austin itself will have 3 million unit capacity. This would mean 250,000 Cybertrucks. I'm guessing 500,000 Cybertrucks is what they're planning on. Maybe there's even more because I think the difference between 250,000 Cybertrucks is probably not more lines. I think the lines are all set up. It's probably just more shifts. I don't know for sure. That's just my guess. Then it'll be at least 500,000 Model Ys. Same story, second verse. I think getting to 500,000 is just more shifts. Now, maybe there won't go over 500,000 because that's where they're picking up the new products. And I'm going to suggest it'll be 1 million of the new Model Z, the two new cars, and 1 million CyberCabs. We got to start getting used to saying that. So what's coming out in mid next year is the CyberCab, and that will be the standalone vehicle that will just be, no steering wheels, but it's going to be completely different. CyberCab, I think, is going to be an important component of what this product's going to be, and that will come out mid next year. Meanwhile, because of all this, Tesla is up, as I just mentioned, in the pre-market, about 17. I believe investors were impressed with the following: that the Gen 3 vehicles will start shipping the end of 2024 or early 25, and that is sooner than expected, and it completely killed the narrative that the product was killed, and it completely killed the narrative that the product was suspended, pushed off, or whatever. No, instead of going later, it's going to come earlier. So, and Reuters trying to cover themselves this morning. Not good. It was not pretty. I would go into it in more depth, except it was too ugly. It doesn't fit the character of my show to be as ugly as I would have had to have been. Anyway, the robo-taxi vehicle was the number 2 thing I think people were excited about. There is not going to be the so-called CyberCab, the now called CyberCab, will be unveiled on 8/8. This was also important, I think, to the call because they confirmed it will be a physical vehicle that we're going to see on 8/8. We're going to see what this thing is going to look like. It's probably going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to 8/8. Then they went on to say that the Tesla beat on the margins. I went on to say that the Tesla beat on the margins was a big piece of why the market is up today and was last night. And then also they guided to increased unit sales in this year. And I think that was important. Now, remember, even if they did the same number of vehicles, say 75,000 of those are going to be Cybertrucks, and those are going to be at a higher average cost per vehicle, and they're going to be by the end of the year, it's going to be at nice profits, maybe even sooner than that, because they're selling them for 100,000 each. Anyway, and then I thought the news of the 1,000 units per week, I think probably if they'd given that a different day, that they had reached 1,000 per week, then the stock would have bumped just for that reason. But now you're talking about the package of reasons that the stock went up. And then this Tesla ride-hailing service. I'm not alone in thinking this is a separate deal. Other people on X this morning are commenting that they announced the ride-hailing services separately as a separate thing. They mentioned it before the earnings call. They brought it out, as a completely unique product. That doesn't mean that it isn't the same thing as what will eventually be the robotaxi network, if it's called that. But the ride-hailing product might come out next week, next month. There wasn't really any clarity on when that's going to come out, because I continue to believe, and love to hear what you think. I think it's going to include a supervisor in the seat, and Tesla will begin to test their robotaxi network, the ride-hailing product. They'll begin to test it before August 8th with a driver in the seat, with a supervisor. All right. Troy Teslike said that he thinks the biggest news today is that Tesla is launching a ride-hailing service with human drivers. This is probably because Elon wants more people to experience this supervised full self-driving feature. This idea seemed to will increase demand for vehicle sales, but I think it'll also get people used to the idea. It'll put Tesla in the business. By the way, Uber stock and Lyft stock dropped on this news. Now, the truth is that isn't all clear about the human drivers. I could be completely wrong. And he called it ride-hailing service rather than robotaxi, and that's how I took it too. And we'll just have to see how all of this develops. Now, there's a lot more good news, such as the rollout of the Model 3 Performance. I mean, it's kind of completely lost in all of this. There's a new video out this morning showing the Model 3 Performance car, and it's an incredible car. It's going to sell like crazy, I believe. So that's going to be another piece of big news that just really is just part of the day, I suppose. There's also the completion of the line at Lathrop, the second line at Lathrop, which means we'll have full production by the end of the year. Again, that could have been a standalone announcement and probably would have moved the stock because you're talking about a massive increase in sales and profits because of it. And the notice that they know what they're going to sell 12 months or further into the future. I think, they said our sales will be up 75% in this category. It was also confirmed that the layoffs, this is something I said, once in a while I'm right. It was confirmed that the layoffs were part of a necessary periodic house cleaning that needs to happen when you're growing, and that the savings will be in excess of $1 billion a year, exactly my number. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means, number one, that this was strategic. Elon said that. It was strategic in the sense that the way things were set up before was set up to be primarily about a car manufacturer. Now they need to be set up primarily as a automation company, a company that's in the business of selling things that run automatically, called robots of the two-wheeled and four-wheeled variety. And with your orientation being that way, it kind of maybe changes some of the players. And so there's a shift in the executive suite. May not have had anything to do with competency, may not have had anything to do with anything except that we're shifting the direction and some people don't fit the new direction. All right. Okay, many have also not understood how important the beat on margins was during a quarter with lots of headwinds on margins. So in other words, to get to 17.5%, which was way up from a lot of people's thinking, think how much higher the margins would have been for the quarter if it wasn't for them being in the middle of the ramp on both the Model 3 and the Cybertruck, if it wasn't for Chinese New Year's, the start and stop, et cetera, of Chinese New Year's, and it wasn't for the unique issues regarding these terror attacks, both the terror attack on the Berlin building as well as the Houthis out there in the Red Sea, causing them to have to move things around and shut down the plant for a while. So the margins would have been even higher. I'm thinking probably overall they could have been 1 to 2% higher. That caused them to go on and say the magic number, which I think the long-term players like Gary Black should have absolutely been throwing the confetti and doing the poppers and everything else, because what he said was, we're going to continue to lower prices based on our savings on cost of goods, not continuing to reduce the margins, but rather as we reduce cost of goods, we will continue to pass the savings along. So Gary Black, shouldn't that be something you're excited about? Okay, 14% gain yesterday would have been one of the best days ever for Tesla. One can only figure that maybe Elon got the vision sold. The new vision has been sold. And if that's true, this 14% gain should have legs, and we should see a continuation. Not in a straight line, but there should be more money coming into the stock because of course, the FOMO. People are going to want to be part of this revolution in four-wheel robots and then eventually in two-wheel robots. Then, of course, Scott Walter, I was hoping to have him on this morning. I don't know if that's going to happen. Something we maybe got some confusion, but Scott Walter will be talking about the fact that we have confirmation that the robots will be working in the factories in 2024. Really? And that they will be sold to other people in 2025. Really? I don't know which YouTuber, which of the many, you know, pundits on X or YouTube would have said that we would have robots working in the factories in 2024 and selling them to third parties in 2025. Now, I thought it would happen even sooner. I will admit to that. All right, this is Randy Kirk. By the way, have you hit the like button yet? Well, have you liked what I had to say? If you didn't like what I had to say, still hit the like button, subscribe, notify. Hoping Scott will be here later today. No idea what's going to happen tonight. I'm on vacation. Going to go see some minor league ball with my kids and my grandkids. So, and it's my last full day here in Charlotte. So I don't know what's going to happen tonight. Don't count on anything, but maybe there will be a show tonight. And then almost 100% there'll be a show tomorrow morning. Markets were very happy yesterday with the PMI for manufacturing slipping back into bearish territory and employment demand slacking. Bad news meant lower interest rates, which meant the stock market liked it. However, the interest rates good news didn't last because new home sales blew out estimates. Wall Street had no idea there would be a 9% gain. I've been saying for months that higher interest rates will become the standard. Folks will want the things they want, the houses, the cars, the refrigerators. They're going to want them, even though interest rates are so-called high. They aren't that high, but now people are going to go, you know what? Interest rates aren't coming down anytime soon. And so if I'm going to get that house, I better go get it, because they're also realizing housing prices aren't going to come down. They're not with these current inventories. You got nothing out there. Supply demand curve still works. there's nothing in economics. There's not a single rule, a single law in economics that is any more clear and any more obvious and any more consistent than the supply demand curve. There's no supply and there is demand, and therefore housing prices is going up. Anyway, and then of course home buying leads to other buying for the things after you buy your home. So that should be good news for the overall economy, which should be bad news for interest rates, which it has been so far this morning. And then that would theoretically cause the markets to go down, but it appears that the markets just want to go up. So even though the 10-year, well, we'll take a look here in 2 seconds where the 10 years are up this morning, but the stock market is looking like it's going to be up again today. Now, that might be because earnings are coming in okay. It might be because Tesla did well, and also Boeing came in and beat the worst case scenario. And so maybe that's what's causing the market to be up. I don't know, but whatever it is, so far, market's doing well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the details of what exactly is happening this morning. So let's start with Tesla. Tesla is starting to see a little bit of a profit taking, but again, this is the pre-market. Some reason but it's 1579, something like that. And then, my system decided not to do what I wanted it to do exactly, so I couldn't quite see it. But let's go ahead to the bonds. And I just hit exactly the wrong thing. I'm so sorry. All right, let's go here. Let's go to the bonds. The 30-year at this point is up 5.6 basis points. Yeah, so like I was saying, to 4.654. Yeah, way up this morning because of the housing news. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the others. We have got the 2-year up 4.5 basis points. We have got the 2-month up only a half a basis point. So that inversion is dropping a bit. But again, the 10-year up to 4.652. Oil this morning is down 34 cents to $83. Brent, $88. So a full $5 separating them now. That's odd that split is widening again. Natural gas up 1.82%. at 177. I'm sorry, down 1.82% at 1779. So yesterday's gains have come off. Gold down $14 again today, 2003.27. That's pretty close to 100 points now, I think, that's down. Silver down again this morning. Silver, of course, almost doubling in the last 4 years. We got copper up this morning, up 0.8% at 447. So that's been pretty flat now for quite a number of days. Dollar a little bit shaky today, but still way up, compared to where it has been over the years. It's a very, very strong dollar right now. Good year to travel to Europe. Or maybe you want to buy some European currency. Oh, that's not investment advice. The Bitcoin is up 91 at 66628. And the equities this morning, the Dow flat, down 6 or down 0.02%. S&P up 14.25, 14, up 14 exactly at 0.27. And the NASDAQ up 127 or 0.72%. So that's interesting. Probably taking some Tesla's good news might be dragging a few of the other tech stocks along with it. There's no way this time of morning I can really do that kind of analysis. Okay, so I am going to leave a card for last night's Nicholas Gibbs interview. If you didn't see that, you really need to go back and look at it. Okay, I'm serious. Everybody in the comments talking about what a great job that Nicholas did. And he did. We went through that earnings report and we talked about it in ways that nobody else was talking about it. Now, I did a little of that summary this morning, but there's way more. So go check out that card. And then maybe I'll know in a few minutes, but you won't know till later. We'll see Scott Walter later today. If not, then I will run that Brian White video that Brian and I did the other day. One or the other will be out this morning at, say, 11 o'clock. Okay. 11 o'clock California time. All right. I think that's it for now. Hit the like button if you didn't already do that. And it's been great talking to you on this amazing Tesla day.